Alright, so welcome to Stock Market 101, the beginner's guide to the Philippine stock market. This will be part 1 of a two-part series. So sa part 1, ang pag-uusapan natin mostly is about the stock market, and I help beginners to understand kung ano nga ba talaga ang nangyayari sa stock market, ano ang stocks, and so on, no? And then sa part 2, we'll be discussing mga brokers, ano yung mga magandang katangian na dapat hinahanap sa brokers, ano yung mga responsibilities ng brokers sa inyo, and so on and so forth. So since mahaba-haba to, let's begin. What is the stock market? The stock market is where investors connect to buy and sell investments. Typically, stocks, which are shares of ownership in a public company. What are stocks? A stock is a security that represents the ownership of a fraction of a corporation. This entitles the owner of the stock to a proportion of the corporation's assets and profits equal to how much stock they own. Units of stock are called shares. Typically, companies get listed by going through an initial public offering or IPO, no? For companies, stocks are a way to raise money to fund growth, products, and other initiatives. For regular people like you and me, it's a way to invest in some of the world's most successful companies. Now, merong dalawang klaseng types of stocks or shares, no? First is common shares. Common shares yung mga usual na nabibili natin kapag tumitingin tayo sa market. So, kunyari yung mga ALI, SMPH, mga ganon, those are considered common shares. Common shares usually entitles the owner to vote at shareholders' meetings and to receive any dividends paid out by the corporation. Note that dividends are optional sa side ng corporation, no? Hindi nila kailangan magbigay ng dividends, but they tend to do so if and when they can kasi it's a way to attract investors to invest in their company. And then there are preferred shares. Preferred shares generally do not have voting rights. So meaning kahit sumipot sila sa shareholders meeting, di sila pwede bumoto. Though they have a higher claim on assets and earnings than the common stockholders. Meaning, kapag nagbibigay ng dividends ang isang corporation, mas malaki ang dividends typically na nakukuha ng preferred shares. Now, yung preferred shares naman, nabibili din sila like usual. So, I'm sure na nakikita niyo yan, yung mga SMC2, mga ganon, or mga DDPR, mga ganon. Yun yung mga preferred shares, no? So, you can also buy them at market, but typically, kapag kumukuha ng preferred shares, since hindi naman gaano volatile yung mga ganyan, binibili yan kapag upon release. Kasi usually yung mga preferred shares, meron parang lifespan yan eh. Merong shelf life. Usually, pwede silang i-buy back ng company after a certain number of years or a certain amount of time. Depende lahat dun sa napag-usapan or nakasaad dun sa kontrata. Okay? Now, the next question probably is, where are stocks bought and sold? Diba? So now we know na may dalawang main types of stocks or shares, which are common shares and preferred shares. Pero saan sila nabibili? Saan sila binebenta? So, stocks are bought and sold predominantly on stock exchanges. Okay? Though pwede rin may private sales, no? And are the foundation of many individual investors' portfolios. So, kaya kailangan ng exchange is para doon, no? Para meron tayong lugar kung saan tayo nagbebenta at bumibili ng shares or ng stocks. Now, ang stock exchange natin dito sa Pilipinas is aptly named the Philippine Stock Exchange. The PSE, diba? Philippine Stock Exchange, so isi-shortcut na natin to PSE, is the National Stock Exchange of the Philippines. It was created in 1992 by the merger between the Manila Stock Exchange and the Makati Stock Exchange. It is a private, non-profit, and non-stock organization created to provide and maintain a fair, efficient, transparent, and orderly market for the purchase and sale of securities such as warrants, stocks, bonds, etc. Now, bakit importante yung exchange? Kasi kung wala yan, walang nakikeep track ng pagbili at pagbenta ng not just retailers or not just retail traders, but pati ng mga kumpanya kung sino nakakabili or nakakabenta ng mga hawak nilang shares. Magiging magulo. 'Di ba? Sabihin natin, si company A, nagbenta pala siya ng 1 million shares, no one knows, 'di ba? Wala tayong exchange, parang lahat, hindi, sige, ito, resibo na lang. O kaya, hindi, sige, ito, basta shake hands lang tayo. Ang gulo-gulo, 'di ba? Hindi mo alam kung sino at saan napupunta ang mga shares or mga stocks ng mga corporations. But an exchange basically keeps everything in an orderly fashion para in that way, madali dapat mabantayan at masundan saan napupunta ang alin. Okay? Yun din yung dahilan kung bakit kapag we go through the exchange, meron tayong mga fees na binabayaran because they do this service for everyone. Right? Now, ano ang operating hours ng PSE? Ang normal trading hours natin is from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Okay? This was what it was prior to the pandemic. So, 9 a.m., meron tayong pre-open. Okay? So, ano ibig sabihin ng pre-open? Pre-open means na lahat ng mga buys or sells pumapasok na sa system ng exchange. Okay? Whether you're doing it online or may tinatawagan kayong broker or whatever, dito pumapasok yung mga orders in advance sa PSE. Usually around this time, lumalabas na rin yung mga news about mga private sales or block sales ng iba-ibang mga kumpanya. Okay? Then, you can do all that. You can input orders, cancel orders, or whatever until 9:15. Okay? Same lang tayo so far from pandemic or normal trading hours. Until 9:15, pagpatak ng 9:15, you can still input orders, meaning you can still input a buy or a sell, pero di nyo na pwedeng i-cancel. Parang nagla-lock in na siya doon sa system. Hanggang mag-open yung market at 9:30. Okay? Now, sa normal trading hours, nagkakaroon tayo ng break between 12 noon to 1:30. And then 1:30, the market resumes. Until 3:15 p.m., meron tayong pre-close. So, sa pre-close, parang pre-open. Ganon din. People can still put in and or cancel orders to buy and sell. Up to mga 3:17, 3:18, or right now sa atin, mga 12:45, mga 12:48, ganon. Bawal na i-cancel yung mga orders. Nag-lock in na siya sa system. And then pagkarating nung 3:20 p.m., nung runoff na, doon na mag-trigger lahat ng mga orders na naipon during pre-close. Then finally, the market closes at 3:30. Sa pandemic naman, na iba ng konti, umikli yung trading hours natin. So 9 a.m. to 9:30 yung pre-open and market open pa rin, pero wala na tayong lunch break. At 12:45, may pre-close tayo. Then 12:50, yung run-off where all those orders get triggered. And then finally, the market closes. It is because of yung mga pre-open and or pre-close, kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng mga gaps. Kaya tayo may gap on open or kaya tayo may mock market on close or magic on close, whatever you want to call it. Kaya nagkakaroon ng ganon. Kasi may mga orders na naiipon or na nag-trigger outside of yung hours na gumagalaw yung chart mismo. Once the market closes, pwede pa rin tayo magpasok ng mga orders. But yung mga orders na yon, parang isipin nyo na naka-virtual pila lang sila. They only get officially, quote-unquote, put into the system sa pre-open ng next trading day. Okay? Now, I often get questions na, paano kung kunwari nagbebenta ako ng stock X at this price, tapos yun nga, nag-pre-close, tapos tumaas, nag-gap up yung price, ano yung makukuha ko? So, let's say na a stock was trading at 9 pesos, okay? then you set it to sell at 9 pesos nung pre-close na. Meaning hindi na gumagalaw yung market, but you can still put orders in. Nagpasok ka ng order for 9 pesos, pero nag-mock up. Meaning, na-buy up siya during nung pre-close. And nung run-off na, nung nag-12.50 or nung nag-3.20, from 9 pesos naging 9.5. You still sell yung sinet nyo for selling, but instead of selling it at 9 pesos, you will now be selling it at 9.5. However, you're protected in case na bumaba siya during runoff, kung mock down. So let's say, same issue, binenta nyo ng 9 pesos, tapos nag-mock down tayo, nag-resume, nag-run off na, from 9 pesos naging 8.8. Hindi magte-trigger yung sell nyo kasi gusto nyo siyang ibenta at 9 pesos. Alright? So protected naman kayo. You get the benefit kung nag-mock up, but you're protected from the mock down in the sense na hindi siya mabebenta ng mas mura. Now, mga stock exchanges all over the world, meron silang kanya-kanyang index. Sa atin, iisa lang yung index. Pero sa iba-ibang mga bansa, like sa US, may multiple indices. Diba? May Dow Jones, may SP 500, may Nasdaq, and so on. Sa atin, ang tawag is the Philippine Stock Exchange Index or the PSEI. It is the benchmark measuring the performance of the Philippine stock market. The PSEI is made up of the top 30 listed companies chosen to represent the general movement of the stock market. Companies are ranked based on their full market capitalization. What does that mean? So, ang index, madali lang yung it's made up of 30 names. Pero, the 30 names are not weighted or weighed, kung ano man yung tamang terminology, equally. May ibang companies na mas mabigat, like yung mga AC, mga SM, mga ganon, mas mabigat compared sa other companies, like mga Bloom, ganon. Kasi, mas malaki yung market cap nila, mas malaki yung overall representation nila sa market, kumbaga. Mas mataas yung ranking nila. So, when it comes sa mga portfolios, let's say mga mutual funds or mga foreign funds na bumibili and sinusundan nila lahat ng stock sa index, yung percentage ng binibili nila is equivalent din based on how, kumbaga nakaslice yung pie sa PSEI. So, kunyari, ang number 1 natin is AC. Mas maraki yung allocation nila for AC than let's say for Converge. Or mas malaki ang allocation nila for SM than let's say AP. Okay? Now, the PSEI is periodically reviewed and companies may be added or removed according to 3 primary factors. Number 1 is market cap. Gaano kalaki yung value ng company. Diba? So, the next is liquidity. Gaano kalaki yung value traded niya on a regular basis. And then finally, free float. So, kailangan yung company nakasali sa index may certain percentage na publicly owned. Okay? Meaning, kahit na gaano pa kalaki yung kumpanya mo, pero sa free float mo, meaning yung shares na binibenta mo, sabihin natin, for argument's sake lang let's say you had 1 million shares. Pero yung shares na nakalabas mo sa public, 100 shares lang. Hindi ka pwedeng masali sa index, kulang ka sa free float. Diba? The same goes for liquidity. Kunyari on a daily basis, ang traded mo, sabihin natin 10,000 pesos lang. Then odds are, you're not gonna be included in the index or you're soon gonna be removed from the index because of it. Now, this is the reason bakit minsan biglang pumipitik yung price pababa or pumipitik yung mga price pataas kapag nagkakaroon ng rebalancing. Kasi kapag ka nagkaroon ng palit, dagdag or alis ng kumpanya sa PSEI, pwedeng mag-reshuffle yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina na ranking. Depende sa mga kumpanya na bagong pasok. So let's say, kunwari, dati yung nasa number 20 na spot was Bloom, for example. Tapos pumasok yung Converge. Dahil pumasok yung Converge, yung Bloom Sabihin natin na knockdown siya to 22. So, syempre, yung mga funds, kailangan nilang ibenta yung excess shares nila kasi nga, they want to maintain their portfolio based dun sa percentage or sa rank or dun sa allocation ng PSEI. Kasi yun naman talaga yung sinusunod nila kaya nga tayo may index. Alright? So, kung lagi kayo nagtataka, bakit yung ganito wala sa index? Kasi kailangan ma-fulfill itong tatlong factors na to bago ka magkaroon ng chance man lang na makapasok sa index. Now, lately ko lang nalaman nung nakapasok yung Converge na kailangan pala 9 months lang yung minimum yata or 7 months para makasali ka sa index. So, I was really surprised na nasali yung Converge, no? So, wala siya rito sa ano natin kasi normally it's a non-factor. Now, aside from yung index, aside from the PSEI, there are also 6 additional sector-based indices sa Philippine Stock Exchange. And these are property, financial, holding, industrial, mining and oil, and lastly, service. Okay? So, sa loob ng bawat isang index na yan, meron din siyang kanya-kanya nilang mga parang hawak na stock, parang PSEI, di ba? So, sa loob ng bawat isang sector indice na yan or index na yan, meron din certain number of shares. Now, I'm not gonna explain them all one by one. We're not gonna go through all of them one by one. That would make this video super long, no? But you can research it very quickly naman online. The reason that matters is kasi similar sa PSEI, pag nagkakaroon ng rebalancing sa mga sector indices na to, ganun na naman. Based dun sa allocation nila or percentage nila within that index, ano ba yan? Lagi ako naririto sa indices saka index. Within that certain sector, alright, pwede ring mapabenta agad or mapabili ng mas marami yung mga funds to make up for it para lagi nilang natatapatan yung allocation ng bawat isa sa 6 na sector na to. Alright? Now, the other thing that you need to know when it comes sa PSE is meron tayong mga board lots. Ano ang board lots? Board lots is yung minimum number of shares that you need to buy normally para makapasok ka or para makaposisyon ka sa isang issue. Now, obviously, hindi to kailangan sundin kapag nag-trade ka ng odd lot. But since this is mainly for beginners, we're not gonna be discussing yung odd lot muna. So, normal trading lang to. Okay? Normal lots. So, if yung price ng stock is 0.0001 to 0.0099, then the minimum number of shares that you need to buy is 1 million shares. Okay? Then, from 0.01 to 0.049, it's 100,000 shares naman. From 0.05 to 0.495, it's 10,000 shares. Then from 0.50 to 4.99 is 1,000 shares. Now, marami tayong shares na banda rito na bumabaksak, no, do sa mga 0.50 to 4.99. Madalas, yun yung mga mas mahilig laruin ng mga tao kasi feeling nila mas volatile, mas illiquid kapag pumitik, mas mabilis kumita ng pera. Okay? Next is from 5 pesos to 9.99 all the way hanggang 49.95. The minimum number of shares that we can buy is 100. And then from 50 all the way hanggang 999.5, the minimum number of shares that we need to buy is 10. And then from 1,000 onwards, the minimum number of shares is 5. So, kapag bumibili kayo ng mga Glow, mga Tel, yung mga above 1,000, then kailangan minimum na binibili nyo is pa 5. Now, these board lots are mandatory. Hindi nyo pwedeng sabihin na kunyari, may bibilin akong share and it's worth, worth 1 peso. Ang bibilin ko na lang is 1,600. Hindi pwede. Kailangan by increments of 1,000 yan. May bibiling kang stock na worth 6 pesos. Diba? Or worth 11 pesos. Then you need to buy in increments of 100. Hindi pwedeng 172. It has to be 100, 200, 300, and so on. Yan yung minimum increments na kailangan yung ma-meet para makabili. Okay? Now, the next question, of course, is paano ba kumikita from the stock market? So the primary methods are dividends, for one. Okay? Favorite ng lahat. So, a lot of people tend to jump into the market kapag may narinig lang sila, magi-dividends yung ganito or magi-dividends ng ganyan. And for dividends, there are two types. Cash dividends. Okay, so kapag cash dividends, what usually happens is kapag na-trigger na yung X-date, tapos meron silang sasabihin na araw kung kailan marirelease yung cash dividends to your account. So, dediretso na yun sa account nyo, wala nyo nang kailangan isipin. And then, there are stock dividends. So, stock dividends naman, kapag kadating nung araw na i-release na nila yung dividends, maakuha kayo ng extra na stocks of that issue. So, kunyari, sabihin natin, East West or BDO, then maakuha kayo ng X number of shares ng BDO or East West. Depende kung ano yung breakdown nung allocation niya for dividends. And then, of course, there's capital appreciation. Capital appreciation simply means na if you buy something for 5 pesos and then you sell it for 7 pesos, edi kumita ka na. So, those are the two primary methods para kumita sa stock market. Kadalasan, mga tao, pag gumagawa sila ng mga portfolio, is a mixture of both. Alam ko may mga iba who specialize in building portfolios na specifically for dividends. So, kapag ganon, obviously, you want preferred shares in your portfolio. You want preferred shares and then you want companies na, kumbaga, they're known na generous sila magbigay ng dividends. And consistent sila magbigay ng dividends. And then, of course, for capital appreciation, dito na pumapasok either you want steady growth, so you want mga mas reliable na names, counting on the fact na over time, these companies will continue to grow and tataas yung value ng shares nila, or mga mas speculative and then bibilin mo at a certain price and then in a few days, weeks, months, you can sell it for, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times for whatever you bought it for, no? So, nasa sa inyo na yon. But those are the two primary methods. And then the secondary methods, which are primarily for companies, is number 1, mga SRO. Okay, so stock right offerings are essentially sasabihin na, okay, kapag may hawak ka nitong stock na to, okay, sabihin natin may hawak ka ng BPI, then at a certain date, meron kang right or meron kang karapatan to buy shares at this price. Parang quote-unquote special price for mga holders ng stock na yon. And then there are also tender offers. Tender offers is the company or whoever, a separate entity, will offer a fixed price. Sasabihin nila, okay, we will buy an X amount of shares for one reason or another at certain price. So, for a more recent example of this is FGen. So, FGen, nag-release sila ng tender offer at 33 pesos. So, willing sila na bumili ng a certain number of their shares from the public at 33 pesos. Diba? So, yun. But mostly, ang mas kumikita dito is sa companies kasi the way that we earn from tender offers or SROs or stock right offerings is technically capital appreciation pa rin. So, yung mga behind the scenes na nangyayari sa mga tender offers or mga SROs, ang mas naikinabang is yung mga company, yung mga bagay na hindi natin alam. And dito po nagtatapos yung part 1 ng video natin. Okay? Next week, we'll be releasing part 2 where we discuss how to open and choose your broker account. I hope marami po kayong natutunan, no? And I hope na very informative and enjoyable para sa inyo to watch this video. And if so, I would really appreciate it if you give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, guys, maraming salamat sa panonood. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. Good luck and happy trading!